Well, hello peeps, we're continuing the series on how to get your elite transmog by reaching 1800 in solo shuffle. This time we got one of the most interesting specs in the game, the Survival Hunter. A melee ranged pet class, what? As usual, I will go over all the necessary steps and some unnecessary ones that you can take to accomplish this goal. I usually separate these in parts, but I believe for the Survival Hunter playstyle, our longer video is needed. So we will be going over all the things that you can do before you even step into the arena, gameplay tips, soul shuffle round analysis. Unlike the Demon Hunter, Enhanced Shaman, Warrior specs, which took me maybe over 1 hour of gaming time to reach 1800, it took me 300 rounds on Survival Hunter to get good. Just to get good. I had some very bad things done to me by many classes till that moment, so I really hope you enjoy this one. First things first, you want to reach level 70 and start farming out your honor gear. It's time to hit the BGs. I personally played quite a few BGs while leveling and sent a few medals of honor, so I was able to get an honor set instantly. You should do the weekly PvP quests for Conquest and Trophy of Strife. This can be hard to accomplish depending on the week, but you can always finish the world PvP ones for the Trophy of Strife. Ultimately, you want to try and do as much as you can to get some early Conquest, Trophy of Strife, to buy high item level PvP items. Since world PvP items are 3 item levels lower, you should use Trophy of Strife on off pieces and save Conquest for main slot pieces. Usually I would not make suggestions on how you should spend your Conquest, since I think it's one of those very personal things. But for the SV Hunter, it's one of the specs that benefits greatly from having the tier set. If I recall correctly, it's actually 15% damage difference. But also rushing the 4 set can put you in an uncomfortable position of 24% versatility. So I personally recommend getting a 2 set on shoulders and chest, then you can get the legs and hands, but don't turn them into the tier set items until you finish off your offset. Otherwise you will be in a very uncomfortable position with very low versatility. There's 2 main stat priorities I see. I went for the classical Versa Haste, Mastery then Crit, but there seems to be a Mastery and Crit build popular more on the US ladder. Unfortunately, I could only test one in the climb and I went with Haste. The thing about Haste though, at least it can be used with all type of builds, unlike Mastery Crit, which seems almost exclusively used with bomb builds. This segues us into what I think is necessary and unnecessary, as far as crafted items are considered. As usual, crafted boots are a must. At this point, you can simply send Primal Chaos from other characters, and the cost of materials on my server is less than a premium weapon enchant, so it's very affordable right now. The Elemental Lariat plus Crafted Gem and the Crafted Ring are options if you're comfortable with having a little bit less versatility. You also need to do a lot of content to get these at max item level, so it really just depends on your willingness to farm these. I should make one thing clear, the only thing that you really need to start playing some soul shuffle is honor gear and crafted boots. Items will come as you play. As far as builds are considered, there is 2 variations that I see being used. First is the build with Spearhead, which gives you a secondary burst cooldown, which can be stronger and is also the largest, I think, gap closer in the game at 50 yards. There's also the build with Wildfire Infusion, a bomb focused build, also the build with the Mastery Crit main stat priority. You don't have the secondary burst cooldown, but the Wildfire Infusions give you some variety and ranged options in your sustained damage windows. I personally started off with the Spearhead build and later swapped onto the bomb build. In my specific case, it was to stop myself from going melee more than I already do as a melee player, since that was a main issue that I had. Wildfire infused bombs can be stacked, so it does offer you stronger intermediate burst windows, especially if you're using explosive shot. Since there are very minute differences in how you play these, in the end it will be your personal choice of what you like more. Do you like Wildfire Infusion or do you want Spearhead for the Giga Chat Gap Closer and Burst? So, a little talent overview. There is some choices, there is some things that you can change around in the Hunter side of things. We will go over the Hunter side of things because they are kind of universal. The survival side will change depending on the spec that you're using. You kind of have one point here that's free that you can put most places. I have it here because of DPS, of course. This is a DPS increase. Explosive shot or steel trap, that's gonna be up to you. For me personally, explosive shot just was better most of the time. Steel trap has a plethora of uses. Most of the time, of course, you're gonna try to use it to get a melee off of you or off of a teammate, but a big but is in solo shuffle people will not respect it and will hit into it and break it instantly. So I found that for solo shuffle at least, it's much better to be running explosive shot at least majority of the time. Again, you have this point that you can kind of move around. You have actually a few points that you can kind of move around here. You could actually potentially move this point as well, right? To go like this. but it does have to stay up there. You also have these 2 points, right, that you could put like somewhere like this, you know, and then continue down. Right, and so like there's different choices, right? If you don't want to need the acceleration to heal yourself and you need more of pet protection, if you want to run one of the PvP talents, you can change to this as well. Just put points around. Even Sentinel Owl is not a bad option if you really want to use it. It's just, I think it's gonna depend a lot on your personal preference. Binding Shot or Scatter Shot, I think both of these again are really amazing. They have different uses. Scatter Shot I found that I was using more when I have a teammate who also has a stun, so I don't need a secondary stun. I can have an in-cap effect. Binding Shot I used mainly when I had a teammate with no stun, mainly a mage, of course, because the mage is gonna have a polymorph. Mage has an in-cap, so I don't need another in-cap, and I need basically another stun is much more helpful in that situation. As far as the PvP talents are considered, for me, Survival Tactics and Roar of Sacrifice were pretty much, I had them 90% of the time. I think Survival Tactics can be just used in such amazing ways, in such many different kind of ways. Chimeral Sting is also one of those, let's call them meta PvP talents that you would want to run all the time, basically, anytime that you can, that you have a chance to. It's really great at both setting up kills by CCing the healer, and it's also great for just CCing a target that can be kind of like a mage that can blink away and stuff like that. Other than that, you have a plethora of really good PvP talents. I would not call any of these, maybe like something like Hunting Pack and Sticky Tar, bad, but everything else is pretty much really good and you will find some usage at some time. They're kind of niche, right? Like something like Diamond Eyes, you know, Tracker's Net are very niche. Dragon Scale Armor, very niche, right? Wild King got them very niche. But then you have things like Tranquilizing Darts, which you will use versus like any time that you will be spamming your Purge, Resto Druids and such. Mending Bandage, which completely, you know, counters certain classes, can counter the entire burst of an Assassination Rogue. Tracker's Net, again, something that you will sometimes run just because you need a direct extra route on a melee that's being really annoying. Dragon Scale Armor, something you would run versus like a Shadow Play combo or something like that, right? So all of them are used at some point, probably, right? You're probably gonna use them and you should just kind of read and test out and play with these just to see what you like. As far as the survival side of things, here we first got the Bombardier build. I wouldn't switch anything around in it. I think it's a really good baseline. Some points might depend, right? You might not want this, you might want critical damage if you're running the critical build, right? If you're running Mastery and Crit stat weights. But other than that, there is not much, right? Choices. You have like maybe this, right? You can put somewhere else if you don't want your pet to be doing 10% more damage. So I would keep the Bombardier side pretty much standard. I would not be moving anything around. On the Spearhead side of things, you have 1 point that's kind of extra and you can just move around depending on your choice, your personal choice, right? You could even go into Birds of Prey, right? To give some extra damage onto your coordinated assault windows. I forgot to mention, but during talking about the Bombardier build, but you can also just change Birds of Prey in the Bombardier build, in the Wildfire Infusion build, if you want to have AoE kill shot, if you don't think bombs are gonna be as effective in that game, right? If you want to do more AoE damage and more cleave damage in your burst window, then you need to have just tossing bombs, you know. Other than that, there's not much to say. Most of talents on the Hunter trees are just percentage things, right? Like 40% increase to Explosive Shot, Arcane Shot, Kill Shot, Serpent Sting, right? So not much, you can just read through it and see for yourself, right? But there's nothing that really changes up your playstyle extremely. Now we come to the most important part, which is training yourself for PvP. The basic of it being your burst and sustained rotation. You'll do this by spending some time with my best friend, the target dummy. It might sound silly to you, but the most important thing is to make your damage come out without thinking about it, so you can actually focus on the match. This is even more important on a class like Survival. Unlike other classes where it's very PvE-like, in Survival's case I will segment it into parts of the rotation, as the PvE scenario is very rare. I should note that if you're not using explosive shot, just ignore it in the rotation suggestions. We'll start off with the range rotation. Explosive shot, death chakram, wildfire bomb, kill command, serpent sting. It's a wildfire bomb, kill command, serpent sting priority. Unless you get ferment bomb, you want to spam some kill commands then. If you're not using wildfire infusion, do not overlap your bombs. You will lose ticks of damage. You can actually do a decent amount of burst just from range, around 45k DPS, and you can do about 50% to 60% of your damage just from range. Next, of course, is your Mungus Bite windows for your sustained rotation if you're in melee. With Mungus Bites, you want to maximize the amount casted after acquiring the first stack. That also means once it ends, unless you're about to kill, you should save focus to start a new Mungus Bite window. Keep your dots up and spam Mungus Bites. Get focus back by using flanking strike and kill command. Not much to it. It's one button which your tier set also heavily enables. Next would be putting these two together for your mini burst rotation, using your ranged abilities before going melee, then spamming Mungus Bite and your focus generate. Again, the reason I have these segmented like this is because how you will have to behave in an arena as a survival hunter. You sitting in melee means you either got some sort of CC going, or you're doing a lot of pressure and you have cooldowns to defend yourself. Next is your coordinated assault burst, which it does change things around and is a little bit different depending on the build you're using. The core of it is coordinated assault into kill command into Mungus Bites, alternating with wildfire bombs as you get empowered ability. You always want to make sure you cast an empower kill shot on cooldown. The difference will come from are you playing wildfire infusions and are you playing bombardier. If you are, then you want to make sure you casted both bombs before starting coordinated assault. Again, I have to segment these since most of the time you will have time for maybe an explosive shot or a bomb into death chakram into coordinated assault, since you're working in the CC windows. Next is Spearhead for those who are using it, and it's very simple. Just spam Mungus Bites as much as you can in the 12-second window. Your tier set enables this quite a lot, and if you get some lucky procs, you can do some very good damage. Now some simulations, also a good way to practice using your focus macro, or if you're not using them, you will still have to practice this in a way. Again, the PvE rotation is just not in the stars for a survival hunter, and most of the times you will have to adjust and be very flexible. Now for some tips and tricks. First off, I want to start off with just stating how survival is the most non-starter spec that I think there is. You're ranged, melee, pet, pretty much all different spec kinds in one. And just like that, the way you will play will feel very non-standard, especially if you're coming from the PvE side of things, or another melee spec. You will have to learn when you go in and when you must kite. Of course, this will come with time. For me, there was a huge difference at 0 rounds and 300 rounds, from being the easiest target to the worst target, by just positioning better and making better choices on when to go in. It didn't dawn on me till writing this script, but you can do 50 to 60% of your damage from range. So don't get pressured in going melee just for the sake of DPS. I guess a few simple rules would be don't go in unless you have defensives, and your healer is free of CC, unless the enemy healer is CC'd, unless you have more pressure and you're sure to get a net positive exchange. So my first tip is positioning, and don't be afraid to be at range. Learn to use your defensives. Which defenses you need to commit for which CD. Again, this will take some experience. While you can get away with using Roar of Sacrifice versus like a Fire Mage, Combustion simply, other burst cooldowns might need you to use multiple ones or different ones. Like for a Warrior Spear of Bastion, where you could use a wall plus a Roar of Sacrifice, a Roar of Sacrifice plus a BM Trinket. And if you have a healer, they can use also something for you. Again, these will depend on the situation, what you're facing, what spec is your healer. Example, if your healer is a Disco Priest, most likely they will commit Pain Suppression to you right away, meaning you can get away without even using some personal cooldowns. Learning when to use deterrents, when it's the best simply to commit it and save other CDs. Example, if you're getting heavily bursted and your healer is CC'd, then trying to save yourself with other defensives is futile and will cause you to just overlap cooldowns. which you might not have wanted to overlap. So the safe option is to just deter and save your HP and other cooldowns. As far as pet management, your main concern is your pet dying. It is really bad for your pet to die. It's both a DPS and defensive loss. In some lucky cases, you will be able to get the revive unrepeated, but it's always a huge detriment. Other than that, just pay attention to where your pet is and its status. A lot of your abilities are combo abilities with your pet, so your pet being CC'd can also be a thing to watch out for. Also, your pet attacking the wrong target will make your damage less meaningful. And it's all about the CC, both offensively and defensively. You will set up majority of your wins with a trap on the healer. This is also how you will get the most amount of pressure in a round. You will also defend yourself and your teammates baseline with your CC, not counting defensive cooldowns. There's also different combos for accomplishing these goals, like intimidation stun or binding shot into trap, harpoon into trap, a Kobe trap, scatter into trap, a harpoon trap into a stun into a scatter. Chimerial sting can also be added there. For defense, binding shot into a tar trap into a steel trap, scatter shot into a steel trap, etc. Many different combos you can employ or just singular CC on a burst cooldown. So now for a little soul shuffle analysis. I think this is actually the match where I get 1800. There's some interesting moments, there's some mistakes that I make, there's some really good stuff that I do overall throughout the match. So I think it's a good match to look at. Here we are first going against the Shadow Priest and the Warrior. I'm just gonna kite away the Warrior. My healer gets CC'd here hard at first, so I just have to pop deterrents. If I try to use any other like cooldown there, there's no way I survive. I get, of course, topped up here. We're gonna be targeting the Shadow Priest here at first. That's what the call-out was, but in reality Warrior is the better target because I just have to stand kind of... I can't really hit the Shadow Priest and kite the Warrior at the same time if the Shadow Priest is standing on top of the Warrior, right? So for me the preferred option here, and the way that we're actually going to win this match, is going to be just to kite away the Warrior and then switch, you know, make him force his healer into awkward positions, and then of course kill him, DPS him down. So here I'm doing kind of I'd say a decent job of kiting him away, but we're just not able to do as much pressure because we are getting heavily pressured. So I decide to just start dragging the Warrior away. Here I stun him on his cooldowns, going for a trap. He does pop his defensive as well. Gets storm bullet. I'm actually doing a really good job at making sure he's not really touching me. I go back in here because he's really low. I'm gonna kill the Spirit Link, right? Yeah, I do it. I get the kick, a cheeky little kick on the Shaman. I'm probably gonna trap him here right away. Go for a binding shot on them. I'm waiting because of the grounding totem. I'm probably going for a trap here in a second. Actually, no, we get a polymorph off. Mage gets a polymorph off. Here I should be again trying to drag him, and I do. I start dragging him. Because, again, we're just... we're gonna lose if we're just standing there and having a PvE battle, right? Again, we are trying to do some kind of a swap onto the Shadow Priest, because I guess the mage is trying to murder him. We get Dispersion. Again, I think Warrior is just better overall. We also got his Enrage Regeneration down. Here again, I start pulling him back. I'm also bursting with Coordinating Assault. I get a cheeky little stun on him, and we're gonna able to finish him off. This mage was really good at CCing the healers. He did this. This is one of the ways that I will die in this game, is by kind of overextending and the mage getting free CC on the healer. So here we are just gonna be trying, I think, to pump the priest, but I think we can honestly kill both. It just depends on the warrior, really. Really all depends on the warrior, because I have no problems chasing a mage, right? But the warrior might have problems chasing a mage. So here we're just getting in, we're just bursting. I think we're gonna get dispersion right away. We do. Here I try to get away from the stun, but it doesn't matter. Get back onto the mage, counter him. I'm just doing damage here as best as I can. Trying to do as much pressure because we did get a kind of a nasty combo on them. I get a double binding shot, really good. Both of them get stunned. I chimeral sting the priest so he doesn't do anything, you know, anything tricky. I go in for a trap finally here. I should have went for a trap earlier here in the game, but I guess I was more focused on the pressure. I did go at the start of the game, but like I feel like there was more moments there that I could have used. Here again, we're just pumping the priest. He has no disperse, so if we can get some CC going, like I'm about to do. I get a stun. Am I gonna get a trap? I go for a trap. The mage roots me, so he basically gives me a free root. Again, we're doing some pressure, but it's... Nice, nice. We get him. We get a nice little burst. Here we are against the warrior and the mage. I think me and the shadow priest are gonna go for the mage. We have a really easy time killing him. We also have an MD, so we can get rid of ice blocks. So there should not be a reason for us. We can also kill the warrior, of course, by kiting him away and stuff. But generally speaking, we should just go for him. Here I wait for the horrified to get over because you can, you know, not overlap CC. I'm here starting to burst the mage. Oh, I try to get away from him so he doesn't stun me. He doesn't stun me. He doesn't get a stun. So I'm just pumping. I'm not getting targeted, so I'm free to just kind of chill, be right in the center. Here I swap a little bit of target. This is a little bit of a mistake. I tried to harpoon trap, of course, the healer, but it ends up not working out, and he grounds my trap, which is unfortunate. Just pumping the mage, right? I'm doing my best to do anything for the priest, right, that I can, but not much really that I can really do. Here he does a swap. Noticed a little bit late, I'd say. It should have been noticed that a little bit sooner. Here I think I'm realizing, right, that going for mage is really hard, but we did get ice block, right? We did get ice block, so if we can get another CC combo going, we could do some pain to the mage. Here again, I'm just making sure I'm not in his range, and boom, we get him. Boop, 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 boop. He blinks out of the shaman's spirit link, so that was kind of a boo-boo by him. So here I'm gonna make a huge mistake, right? I'm gonna stealth right away. I'm gonna go in, right? My position is just gonna be terrible. This is what I mean about positioning being one of the key things. And I'm just gonna get PvE'd, and plus on top of that, I'm just gonna let the mage freely just do whatever he wants to the healer, right? So the mage is just gonna CC the healer while I just get murdered, you know, in between two casters. So we're just starting off good. I tried to go for a trap. I missed the trap. Here, yeah, the priest, my healer is in CC, and I should have honestly just deterred there. Like, I should have just deterred at basically full HP and kited away, and I think we would have had no issues here. And this could have been like a, you know, just resetted the match. But instead, I just panic and I just stand here and I don't know what to do. my healer is just CC'd. You know, that's just unfortunate, but it just shows you how important the positioning is, right? And also defensive usage, right? If I just committed the turns there, it would have been completely fine. No problems. Here we're versus the priest and the warrior again. I think I'm just gonna start kiting the warrior away. That's if they're gonna be targeting me, of course. That's the only thing that I can really do. Like, going for shadow priest is just not optimal. Because what I want to do is, of course, make the warrior going to, you know, push in like this, right? And then get, you know, pop defensive cooldowns and die, right? So here, right, I've popped a BM Trinket, a Roar of Sacrifice, and he's popped his big defensive, right? So, and the healer also just popped his big defensive. So they're in a prime position to just get destroyed here. Again, I'm just, you know, trying to drag him here. Put him in an uncomfortable position. The moment he's, you know, going away from me, I go back in. to start doing some DPS. I should be looking for a trap on the healer, but I kind of fucked up by using Harpoon to, root him. He gets voice shifted, really good for him. Again, we're just doing some PvE here, action on him, making a very good job at kiting the warrior away. Here I try to go for a trap, the trap fails because of the monk's ability. Here I stun him though, we are again doing some PvE action, warrior jumps away, very smart move by him, but we are actually just gonna start bursting the priest a little bit. We get a cocoon again, so we are in a prime time to try and get some CC going on the healer and maybe a kill going. The healer does have a trinket, the warrior also does have a trinket, so... Here just the binding shot to troll him. Here he starts bursting me. I pop multiple cooldowns, Shaman also pops Spirit Link, so I'm Gucci. I didn't want to just use the third air. That could have also just been a good option, just deter and just nullify the entire go, but I went for a different option. Here I'm going away again because I'm just not in a good position to do some damage. Again, keeping my range, keeping my positioning. Mage gets Dragon Breath on the healer. I get a trap. We're doing some extreme pressure. Extreme pressure. Here I try to go for a kick. I end up stunning him. Stunning the healer. Ooh, spicy. I am starting to take some damage again because I went in. Again, starting to kite away. As soon as I don't have any cooldowns, the healer, there's no CC for the healer. I'm starting to kite away, make the warrior go into a bad position, and then, try to combine some CC and burst to kill him, right? Here I should be going soon for trap onto the healer. Mage does get a polymorph, and the warrior pushes up. So I think we're just gonna... Here I'm forced to deter. But we are able to get some nice bursts going off onto the Fury Warrior and kill him. This is the final round. I'm here saying how my job is done because I already have 4 wins, and judging by the MMR of the lobby, I already knew that I was gonna get 1800 from it. Unfortunately, I will lose this round, but and it will be though due to some mistakes that we shall call out. I will not do the best job in protecting the Shadow Priest this time. Again, we are focusing the mage. We have a good kill on the mage. I get a nice stun into trap onto the mage. I run up and I get frozen. Kind of a mistake by me. I should have just pumped the warrior. There is multiple mistakes here because I'm already kind of hyper, right? I'm happy about finishing, the series. We get block, right? But still not looking good for a Shadow Priest. He's getting really trained by the warrior. I would also say that the Shadow Priest should have just been dragging the warrior around with around pillars, right? And tried maybe to go some burst onto the warrior, right? But I guess the Shadow Priest didn't have the flexibility, right? Like I had. Here I'm gonna try to go for a trap. I do get polyed. I beefed the trap, I beefed it. I mean, I should have just slowed him. I had the harpoon, I had so many choices. That's just a huge mistake. Again, this round I'm way too comfortable already. Like, I don't really care, right? That was my state of mind. I already got what I wanted. Doing good, really good pressure, right? But they're also doing extremely good pressure as well, right? So it's not really a net positive. I get a trinket from the monk right away, there. Still pumping the mage. Again, the priest could have started dragging the warrior around and DPSing him. The warrior would have followed him. Here we almost kill the monk, but I don't know, I guess the priest didn't have any insta-cast abilities, or maybe the priest didn't even see the monk was low. But I'm pretty sure the priest tried to do a shadow word of that there. Again, we were just pumping the mage. I thought nobody was gonna help in their purge altar time, but we do get a purge off. I do go for a stun. I should have honestly went for a stun on the healer, because would have been, I think, more pressure. Priest life swaps me, but it's honestly not gonna be a problem. But he is gonna get pushed here, right? So it's just unfortunate I didn't help him kite the best. He also could have just kited and killed the warrior. So some mistakes. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It took me quite a lot of time to make it. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things the YouTuber wants you to do, and have a nice day.